What is the National Firearms Act of 1930 and the Second Amendment? Imagine a country where your right to own a gun is protected by law, but certain types of firearms are heavily regulated. That's what we're exploring today. If you're curious about how gun laws work in the United States, you've come to the right place. The Second Amendment to the United States Constitution states that a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed. This means that Americans have the right to own guns, but what that really means has been debated for many years. Some interpret it as giving individuals the right to own any firearm, while others see it as protecting the collective right of states to maintain militias. In 1939, the Supreme Court in the case United States versus Miller clarified that only firearms with a reasonable connection to militia service are protected under the Second Amendment. This ruling meant that guns like sawed-off shotguns or machine guns, which are not typically used by militias, could be regulated by the government. Now, let's talk about the National Firearms Act of 1934. This was the first major federal law aimed at controlling guns in the United States. It was passed during the New Deal era to address concerns about organized crime and gun violence. The law imposed a tax on the manufacture and transfer of specific firearms, including short-barreled shotguns, machine guns, and silencers. The NFA required anyone wanting to own these firearms to register them with the government and pay a special tax. If someone failed to do this, they could face criminal charges. The law also created a system to track these weapons, making it harder for criminals to get their hands on them. Understanding these laws helps you know your rights and responsibilities. If you own or want to own firearms regulated under the NFA, you must follow the registration and tax rules. Not doing so can lead to serious legal trouble. The Second Amendment guarantees the right to keep and bear arms, but it also allows for regulation, especially for weapons that are not used by militias or are considered dangerous. The Supreme Court's decision in United States versus Miller shows that the government can regulate certain firearms without infringing on constitutional rights. In practical terms, if you plan to own a firearm covered by the NFA, you need to go through the proper registration process, pay the required taxes, and follow all federal laws. Knowing these facts helps you exercise your rights responsibly and stay within the boundaries of the law. Remember, your right to own guns is protected, but it's also balanced with regulations designed to keep everyone safe.